Guys, I've been meaning to shoot this video for a while. I wanted to follow up to the first video I did on covering a junk journal when you're making your own art journal, junk journal, handmade book, etc. So here is an example of a cover that I made with using a file folder, and this has napkins decoupaged on it. This is from a kit that you can get. I see them at Michael's. I don't know if some of the other big craft stores carry these, but I'm sure you can find something similar online too. They're chipboard kits, packs, and they come with, depending on which one you get, different sizes, and they're already punch holed out, and they come with some binder rings. So this is a really easy option in case you don't have a binding machine or you just want a really easy way to bind. This would be a great way to go because it's a good heavyweight chipboard. You can decorate it any way you like, and then all you have to do is slip the rings in to bind it. What I'm going to do for this second one is just do a quick tutorial on how I decoupaged that file folder, except this time I'm going to be using a thicker base like I talked about. Is the cereal box that I had cut out in the first video, and if you want, go ahead and take a look at that one. That one just shows how you can really easily make a cover in like less than 5 minutes out of a smaller size cereal box. A pasta box works really well. Cake mix box, depending on what size you want. And this time, instead of napkins, I'm going to use some really pretty tissue paper. I found this at Joann's a little while back. Is take a look at what I'm going to need to do beforehand. So since this is the first time I've covered a cereal box this way, just as I'm looking at it, I want to gesso this part so that you start with a clean white surface, and that'll also help add some bulk to your cover and make it stronger. Okay, so decided to film where I've been filming mostly is on my kitchen floor because this is where the best lighting is. So I'm just going to start off, I'll put the gesso in frame there. Just going to start off with putting on that first coat, and as I was prepping here, I realized that you could also use white acrylic paint for this in case you don't have gesso on hand, or any other color really, if you want to check it out. So I'm going to gesso the inside and outside covers, and that's mostly because I want it to not only look the same all around, but also to, like I said, add that bulk that you're going to need for a cover. And then you can always add cardstock if you're using paper to add the design to your cover, like I see a lot of people do. If it's something that you printed off of the internet onto cardstock, or if it is cardstock weight scrapbook paper that you have bought. There's lots of different options for that too. So this will take a little while to air dry, and I am going to let it air dry instead of using the heat gun because I don't want any bubbles. And it won't take too long because I'm in Arizona, and stuff dries pretty fast here. Coat number 1 is finished. I'll come back and do the second side. I'll probably take a good 2 coats on each side, I'm guessing. Okay, so I will be back. Okay, so here's the gessoed cover, and it took 2 coats on the front where all the writing is and just 1 coat on the back, and as you can see it does make it quite a bit stiffer. So what I'm going to do now is take the tissue paper, and depending on where you want your designs to lay, you can start to line it up. And I showed you this in the first video on this tutorial series. This is Collage Podge. This is the glossy. This also comes in matte, and it's pretty similar to Mod Podge. I like it a little better than Mod Podge. It's not as gloopy, not as kind of chunky. It's a little more smooth. And I got it at Joann's. And I think this whole thing, which is, let's see, 16 ounces. I got it on, you know, with a coupon or something. So I think it was about $5. And it's lasted me a while, but of course I haven't been doing a whole lot of hands-on crafts, so I've just had it a while, probably a year. So I'm just going to use that same paintbrush and get a nice even coat. Oh, another thing you could use here is gel medium as a glue. And I think just about any of the mediums you put on top is going to start to reactivate the gesso. So I don't know how much you can tell with the lighting here, but it does start to make that gesso move a little bit more again. And I was pretty sure that was going to happen, but it's not a real big deal, because as long as you got a pretty good coverage of gesso, it'll still come out white. Or if you're using paint, you know, it'll still come out basically that color. And then if you're gonna embellish your cover even more, you just don't have to worry about that much, about the gesso not being completely perfect and even. So I think I'd mentioned this, I don't know if it was in the first tutorial or another junk journal related video. I'm trying to put this series out there for people like me, because I do get comments and stuff of people that are afraid to try it, or they just don't know where to start. And I'm still really, like, I'm not going to say intimidated by doing this, I just know it's not my strong suit. I make a lot of digital journal kits, and I really love doing that. But the actual making of the journal, there are people that I think their skills are just amazing in that way, and they just seem to have a knack for it, and I can totally acknowledge that I don't. But that's why I wanted to do this, was to show you that you can still put together a nice journal for yourself, even if you don't think you're that inclined to do this kind of stuff, because it does take some exacting type measurements, and you know, some things that I consider really tedious, but the other people love, and I totally get that, because a girlfriend of mine was over the other day, and she saw some of the stuff I was doing with the digital art, and she really liked what I was doing, but she just said, oh my gosh, like, how can you sit here and do that for hours and hours? And I just said, oh, I love it, you know? So we all have our strengths and weaknesses, right? So this part is going to be the inside cover, and I'm not too worried about the tissue paper looking perfect on this side because I already have an idea of what's going to be going on for the inside cover. And this is going to get a lot more embellishing on top of it. So I really just want this to be a background. And I'm just going to now use my paintbrush to flatten it out. And this is what I love when you're using the gel mediums or Mod Podge and stuff, is this part with the, when you're doing collage or anything like that, this is a fun part when you're kind of making it all seal together. There's something really satisfying about it to me. So anyway, that is my tissue paper demo part. Kind of a spin on another technique that I have seen that is really pretty, but I think the way I'm doing it is going to be a little bit more beginner friendly because I'm doing it. So you know, this is like only the 4th junk journal that I've made, so it'll be pretty easy, but I think it's going to turn out pretty awesome because what I'm picturing is going to look really cool. So here's part 2 of the tutorial. I hope you're finding this helpful, and love to hear any questions or comments that you have, and I will see you next time. Okay, thanks so much. Bye-bye.